We begin now at the top of Daf Zayin Amud Beis Meseches Shabbos. This is Shabbos Daf 16b. The Gemara just finished saying that one possible explanation of why glass is Tamei Midrabanan is because the glass is compared to Kli Matchis, it's compared to metal kalim, because you can melt it down and reconstitute it. Now Rav Ashi gives a different suggestion, going really back to the original suggestion. Rav Ashi says, Liolam Likli Cheres Damu. Really, the glass is compared to pottery, to clay vessels. So what was your question on that approach, that then in that case they should not become tamei from the outside? So the Gemara says, no, hoel v'nira tochu kabaro. Since when it comes to glass, it is see-through, and you can see the inside and the outside, you can see right through it. So therefore, they did not make it similar to kli cheres in the sense, and instead they said that it is mitamei migabo. Shimon ben Shetach tiken ksuba l'isha. This is going back to that brisa which was listing various takonas. So Shimon ben Shetach was masaken ksuba for a woman, which we explained over there. The gozer tuma al kli matchis, and he was gozer tuma on metal kalim. Very strange, and we mentioned already when we saw this brisa that it's strange. The Gemara asks, klei matchis doraisa in it. What are you talking about? That he decreed tuma on metal kalim? That's a din doraisa. Tichsiv, like it says, achis hazav es hakesef v'gomer. It's a beferish pasuk. So the Gemara says, Lo nitzrucha ela l'tumi yeshana. What we're talking about here is the halacha that really we said before in the previous amud, that when it comes to metal kalim, if you break it and then you refashion it, it goes back to its original tumah. And that was the decree that Shimon ben Shetach made. T'yomer Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, because Rav Yehuda said the name of Rav. Maisa b'Shaltzion Hamalka. There was a story with Shaltzion Hamalka. She'osta mishte livna. She made a feast for her son. And just as a historical note, Shimon ben Shetach is her brother. She was married to King Yanai. So she made this big feast. V'nitmu kol kela. All the kalim became tamei. So she broke them all. She gave them all to someone who fashions kalim. Melted it down and reconstituted and made brand new kalim. The Amru Chachamim, and the Chachamim said, Yachzru Tumas Yashan. It was right at that time period, the Chachamim say they have to go back to their original Tumah. This was not a good solution. My time, what's the reason? Mishum Geder Mechatas Naguba. The reason is because of a Geder for Mechatas. The idea here is that sometimes when something becomes Tamei Mace, you're going to need to wait 7 days, and then you're going to need to use the Mechatas to make it tar. And so the problem is, this is a great way to get around that requirement and to make it tahor on the same day. You could just break it and remake it. So therefore, they didn't want people to take advantage of that and that they would essentially forget about the mechatas. Rashi says that the problem is shovron v'tishtakach Torah's mechatas. The concern was that the whole law of mechatas would be forgotten. So therefore, they said it goes back to its original tumah. And again, that's a din d'Rabbanan. The Gemara says, "Hani cholaman de'amar lo l'chol hatumas amru elo tumas hameis bilvad amru." Shapir. That works very well according to the one who says that this halacha of Tumah Yeshana only applies to Tumas HaMeis, because the din of Mechatas only applies to Tumas HaMeis. So it makes sense. Elo l'man de'amar l'chol hatumas amru. But according to the opinion that the din of Tumah Yeshana applies to any kind of Tumah, for example, let's say Tumas Sheretz, it would also go back to that kind of Tumah. Ma'ikol Amemer, how could you give this opinion? How could you give this reason of Mechatas? It doesn't apply in that case. So Amar Abai says a different answer why there's a din of Tumah Yeshana. Gezeira shema lo yikavenu b'chdei taraso. We're afraid that if we allowed a person to just break this metal kli, then reconstitute it, and it wouldn't go back to its original tumah, we're afraid he wouldn't break it. He wouldn't make enough of a large enough hole to really make it tar, because the whole purpose of breaking it is just to get it to be tar again. So we're afraid he wouldn't break it properly. He wouldn't make a hole in it properly. Rashi says the proper size is kimotzi rimon, the size of a pomegranate. So that's Abaya's answer. Rava says, Gezerah Shema Yomru Tvila Bas Yuma Olala. It's a Gezerah. People won't realize what's going on, and they'll think that immediately, they'll think you put it in the mikveh. They won't realize that you reconstituted it. And they'll think that immediately after something comes out of the mikveh, it's tar. Now, that's not true. There's a halacha called Harif Shemesh, right, that really when it goes into the mikveh, it has a status of a Tvul Yom. It's not fully tahar until the sun actually sets, until the end of the day. So in any case, we have two opinions over here, one Abaya and one Rava, of why it is again, of why it is that we are machmir on Tumah Yeshana, either because you're not going to make a large enough hole, or because people won't realize that people won't understand what's going on, and they'll think that things become Torah in the mikveh immediately. They won't understand the din that it has to be wait till the end of the day. So my beinaya, what's the difference? The practical difference between these two opinions? Ika beinaya duratzfinu meratzef. The difference is ratzfinu meratzef. Essentially, you completely break the item down. Rashi gives a couple opinions. What is this practical nafkamina? How does it work? So Rashi says, "Deratzfinu meratzef heirikon v'shavron kulan." You completely break it down. You empty it out and break it down completely. Kimo ma'acholis ritzufa. Rashi is just referencing a phrase in Meseches Nida. Talks also about a flattened kinim, a flattened lice. So the same idea here. It's like totally flattened. So shema lo yikvenu leka. In such a case, we're not afraid the hole's not going to be large enough because you're clearly totally demolishing the item. Shema yomru ika. But there is a problem. People won't realize about the din of harav shemesh. They'll think it became Torah immediately through the mikvah. That's one version. Some people say the other way around, that there is a concern the hole won't be big enough just because you flatten it. You still have that concern. But Shema Yomer v'chulu leka, there is no concern about what people will think. It's clear that you made this thing fresh from new. Everyone knows you didn't use the mikvah. The second approach seems to be correct in my eyes. So the Gemara now continues at the two dots. The Gemara says, "V'idach mai." What is another one of the Yud Ches Davar? Going back to the 18 gezeros that were made with Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, and Beis Shammai, of course, in this case, they took a vote and they outnumbered Beis Hillel. What's another one of these gezeros? V'idach mai hi d'tanan. We learned in Mishnah Haminiach kelim tachas hatzinor. The halach is if somebody puts utensils, vessels underneath a pipe, lekabel mehan megeshamim, in order to collect rainwater. Echad kelim gedolim, v'echad kelim katalim. Whether it's large utensils, whether it's small utensils, even if it's utensils made out of stone or out of earth or out of dung, poslan es hamikva, those waters, it's considered that's like drawn water. It's water that you want. It's your intention to collect it. So therefore, it passes the mikvah. Echad hameniach ve'echad hashocheach divrei Beis Shammai. Now Beis Shammai say they're strict. They say it doesn't matter if you put it there on purpose or even if you just forgot it there. The Gemara will go on to explain exactly what it means you forgot it there. But even in that case, that is considered enough of intention to collect the water that it's considered mayim she'uven, and it passes the mikvah. Rashi over here just explains. Rashi says, Mitarin, let's read one more line. Beis Hillel mitarin b'shocheach. So Beis Hillel say it's tar in a case where you forget it. Rashi explains, mitarin t'shocheach lo chashiva she'iva. When you forget the kalim there, that's not called drawn water, hoel v'lo lekach neskavin, because you didn't really have kavana for that. So the essential principle in this Mishnah is, are you having intention to collect the water? Then certainly it's mayim shuv and it's drawn water and a kapasel mikvah. And Beis Shammai's chiddush is even when you forget the item there, that's still enough intention. We're going to see later why, and we're going to see later on why. That's still enough intention to consider it drawn water, and the mikvah becomes pasul. So the Mishnah continues. Amar Rabbi Meir says, Nimnu v'ravu Beis Shammai Beis Hillel. They took account, and it came out in this case that Beis Shammai was they were more numerous than Beis Hillel, and the halacha therefore follows Beis Shammai, and that's why this is one of the Yud Ches Davar. Umodim Beis Shammai b'shochech b'chotzer shutar. Now even Beis Shammai admits that if you forget the item in a chotzer, that's tar. That's for sure not considered with intention. Rashi explains b'chotzer. Shalot tachas hatzinor. Let's say you don't put it under a pipe. V'nismali minha notvin v'naflu l'mikvah. It just fills up from that which is dripping, and then that water falls in the mikvah. Show tar. So even Beis Shammai agrees it's tar. If you would put it under a pipe. What happens is you put it there when there was rain clouds. And then the clouds went away. And you forgot all about it. That's the case of shocheach. Kinemuki lekaman. That's what we're going to say later on. So in that case, Beis Shammai say, he showed that he really wanted the water. The fact that the clouds went away temporarily doesn't take away his original intention. So here Rashi's already told us at the end of the Gemara that the case is not totally that you forgot this utensil. You originally put it there with the intention of collecting, and then the clouds went away, and then they came back. So there, Beis Shammai is strict. If you put it into a chotzer, even if there are clouds up there, and then the clouds spread out, lo halucha machshava kamaisa. His original machshava is not clear, shapir in a good way. Meikara hilkach b'tela. So in other words, since the original machshava wasn't so clear, it wasn't clear meikara, the whole thing is batal. Okay, so that's why even Beis Shammai would admit that if you forget it in the chutzner, it is tar. And Amar Rabbi Yossi says, Adayin machlokas b'makom ha'medus. This machlokas Beis Shammai Beis Hillel was never resolved in the manner that you suggest, Rabbi Meir. Rather, the machlokas was still, Beis Hillel never gave in. Rashi explains here, b'makom ha'medus, b'meiniach tachas atzinor, b'kish ravim lo nimnu v'rabu ala levatel divrei Beis Hillel. Beis Shammai was never mevatel divrei Beis Hillel, the lo chazer ben, they never were chozer, and there's a practical nafkamina, because if Beis Hillel was not chozer, if they didn't take account that day, then the halach actually follows Beis Hillel. So according to Rabbi Yossi, this is not one of the Yurches Davar, because this is a situation, a classic machlokas Beis Shammai Beis Hillel, where the halach is like Beis Hillel. So there's nothing to talk about over there. So Amar Rav Mesharshia says, Devei Rav Amri, they said in the yeshiva of Rav, Hakol modim kishenicham b'shas kishur avim tameim. Everybody agrees if you put the vessel there when it's cloudy and it's going to rain, it's for sure tamei, meaning it passes the mikvah. B'shas pizur avim, if you do it when there's no clouds, divrei hakol tahorin. Even Beis Hillel agree. Everybody, even Beis Shammai agree rather. Everybody agrees if there's no clouds, it's tar. That's not considered drawn water with intention. Lo nechliku, they only argue ela sheinicham b'shas kishur avim and ispazur v'chazur and iskasher. Exactly what we said in Rashi. You placed it there when there were clouds. The clouds went away. The clouds then came back again. So Mar Sovar Batla Machshavto. One opinion holds that his original intention is batal. It's nullified. Umar Sovar Lo Batla Machshavto. And Beis Shammai, of course, Beis Shammai says his original machshav is not nullified, and these waters do pass the mikvah. So that is the explanation given for this machlokas, which Rashi already alluded to. Now the Gemara asks on Rav Yossi, Ul Rav Yossi damar machlokas adayin b'makom ha'medes batzrilu. Now according to Rav Yossi, who says this was not one of the Yurches Davar, this was not one of the things that Beis Hillel admitted to, and indeed the machlokas continues, and we would essentially presumably paskin like Beis Hillel. So you're missing one of the Yurches Davar. So what's his 18th of the Yurches? Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak af benos kusim nidos marisasan bo bayom gazru. So Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak says, according to him, there was this halacha that the daughters of kusim, they are nidos from when they are born. They have the halacha of nida, and that was a gezerah that took place that day. Rashi explains here, nidos marisasan miyom shenolda, from the day they are born, they're considered nida. The gazrina and dilma chazai nidas tiktana bas yom metama benida. We're afraid maybe they saw nidos, and the halacha is a katana, even 1 day old, can be metame benida. The Tanya ainly Isha tinokas bas yom echad l'nida minayin Talmud lomar v'isha. So that's learned from a brisa. I might have thought only an adult woman. Tells us no, even a child. V'kusim ein darshan midrash zeh. The idea of this whole gezerah was that the kusim did not make this drasha. V'chichazian lo mefarshi. And when a young girl would become a nida, they wouldn't separate her, and they wouldn't try to be metar her, essentially. So therefore the Rabbanan had to make a gezerah and say that the benos kusim are automatically considered tamei, and that is one of the Yurches Davar. That's what Rabbi Yossi will say is the 18th. Gemara asks, "V'idach mai." What's another one of the Yurches Davar? The Tanan we learned in the Mishnah, "Kol metaltalin mevian es hatuma be'ove hamardeya." All metaltalin, all movable objects can be mevi tuma. They can be like an ohel for tuma with the thickness of a mardeya. This is a thickness of a utensil called a goat. It was to help the animals to move them along. Rashi here explains. Let's just read both Rashis. Kol metaltalin mevian es hatuma mishum ohel. This is a halach of ohel. Shemiel rosho echad al ameis, rosho echad al kelim. If you have one side of this utensil or this item is on top of a mace and the other side on top of kelim, mevian lehen tumas oel lemeis letame zayin yamim v'lios avatuma kedin oel tami. So then it gets the items are going to become what's called tami mace, and it's going to take 7 days to purify them. They're going to have a halacha, the status of what we call an avatuma. So the drabanan was bo'ove hamardeya. What does it mean? Afilu ein ben posech tefach. The idea is even if they are not a tefach wide, because the general halacha is it's got to be a tefach wide, this roof, this item, to have a halacha of oel. Even if it's only as thick as a mardeya, so it's a little less than a poseach tefach, it still can be metame on a drabanan level. Well, the kamon mefarash yesh behekefo tefach chut tefach tzorich lahakifo. So later on, they're going to explain that this mardeya, it was large enough that it had a circumference, it was round, it had a circumference of a tefach. Even though there's halach l'moshe misinai that an oel on a doraisa level has to be a tefach, keshar kol shiurin, like all shiurin, it's halach l'moshe misinai. Hacha gazer rabbanan hakefo mishum aviv. Here, since the circumference was a tefach, The Rabbanan were afraid people would not realize the difference between the thickness and the circumference, and so they were strict, and they said it has a tumah d'Rabbanan. Amar Rabbi Tarfon says, and Rabbi Tarfon's statement will continue on Daf Yud Zayin Amin Aleph in the next video.